Hello out there, good evening, dear racing fans, and welcome to the final third of the second MRS season. We are right at the start of the big rivalry to unfold here for season 2. That and the background information I will hand you in just a few minutes. For the moment, hello and good evening for this race here tonight in Spa, Belgium. We will have a 50% race that will be 22 laps here in Spa, and before the starting grid will be settled in 18 minutes qualifying, equal car performances, of course. We have dynamic weather, always a topic in Spa. We have regular corner cuts, so we do not want our races to be decided by penalty seconds. Full rules, flags, safety car, VSC, and all that is on. These are the assists that can be used. Most important, of course, that pit assists both are off, so you have to maintain the right velocity when entering the pit lane. And Spa has a very tight and narrow pit exit, so let's see if there might be a driver or two or three who might need a new nose right after the pit stop. This is the track. Location Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes. 19 turns, exactly 7 kilometers of length. The longest track in the whole Canada. Lap record of 146.2 from Valtteri Bottas that will be blasted by multiple seconds in our qualifying. Track difficulty is easy. Well, I am not so sure about easy. No, I don't agree with Codemasters on that occasion, on that point, because just only the Eau Rouge and Radio combination is really vicious. Don't want to think about just what this combination looks like when it's rainy. And this is our lobby, slowly, steadily filling up. David Lawson, once again, our host for tonight. We have now 18 drivers. There were rumors that we could be on a full grid here tonight, but it is now 18. That is totally okay, totally fine. And so everything is set, and we are about to travel to Belgium right now. So with the first pictures of the Belgium roller coaster, up and down, lots of medium and fast-paced turns. There's actually only the bus stop chicane and La Source, the only two really slow turns. The rest is fast-paced, medium-paced turns. A lot of flat-out zones, depending on the downforce setup, of course. And Andrew Mont tells us that he is already in the groove here in Spa. Second time this week that he is visiting Belgium. First thing to watch is the weather, of course. Well, it is pretty dark. I don't know if there is... Oh no, it's raining. Yes, now I see it. It definitely is raining. I suppose this is a intermediate weather. Not sure if that is already full wets. I would guess that it is green tire weather. We see the first yellow. That is Mr. Jack Rocknean, who had to serve a quali ban for what he did last week, as he invented some unique racing lines through Sochi. Now we see some drivers leaving the pits. First one is Blake Gary. There he is. First one to leave is the one I watch first to get a feel for the track, and especially when it's rainy, Eau Rouge is so massively hard to take. Yeah, everyone is running on Inters. And Blake Gary, he told us earlier this year that he is kind of a fan of rainy weather here in his Senna helmet, you could say. Blake Gary is a fan of wet conditions, so he likes the slippery track. He showed us some good results in rainy races. Just remember the community event when we had the four short tracks, and I think 3 of them were rainy, and he really nailed it. He really showed us that he is a rain driver. So there are a lot of topics here to watch, to go through. First of all, of course, this is the home race of one of our admins, Jarne Vandebril, the single remaining Ferrari Belgium man from Oberpelt. I have no idea how far this is away from Spa, but this is his home race. Further, we have another driver, Joel Wiegel. I'm not sure if he is Dutch or Belgium. He is rather new to MRS. In case you are Belgium, then welcome to your home race too, of course. So here we are already into La Source first, and one of the few slow turns Blake Gary has already passed, and now into Eau Rouge. He is surfing on the curbs and already lost it. His car is still intact, and yeah, didn't I mention it? When it's slippery, it is very, very vicious to go through Eau Rouge, and Blake Gary just showed us why that is so. Oh, and Davis Ikic likewise. And there was some Red Bull, I think it was, just going through. We have our first hot moment here already in the quali. But both Ikic and Gary able to dig themselves out of the barriers. Yeah, so Eau Rouge, that means something like red water in French. And in the last week, Eau Rouge should have been called Eau Moreau for brown. As you might have seen in the social media, it was totally flooded with brown water from some heavy rain coming down in Belgium. But the track marshals luckily have cleared it for us today. So it's still raining, but the Eau Rouge is clear and it's not an Eau Moreau still. First hot lap was brought to us from Dominic Walsh. Was faster than Matt Snead, but Peter Simpson blasted it already, and now Steven Yeoman did so too. There will be a lot of times incoming now. Yeoman in the pole ahead of Simpson, Dominic Walsh third, Vandebril, the home racer, in fourth. Now it's Tom Walsh fourth. So loads of times incoming. Everyone will post a time except Gary and Ekic, of course. And it is UL Wiegel and Leonard Cam who is... those two are still sitting in the pits. And Blake Gary brings his Williams back to the pits. Another one who's still on a hot lap is Mark Goodman in the AlphaTauri. Yeah, Steven Yeoman. That is one column on my note sheet, because in all the MRS time, McLaren has always struggled to have a constant second driver, good constant second point scorer. This time Leonard Cam by the name of Stuart McDonald. He was rather okay, doing rather good this season, but his teammate was very unstable, and now it is Steven Yeoman. I think is already the third teammate of Leonard Cam, and yeah, he might bring some consistency now towards the end of the season for the McLaren team. And he is already the provisional pole setter here at the moment. Then another big topic, of course, the championship standings. On the constructors, it looks already pretty good. Maybe already almost safe to say that Ferrari will win it. Ferrari, driven by Jane van der Brijl and Rocknean, show that they can be a very good team. And Ferrari leads the way with 70 points over Renault and Racing Point. So 70 points. Yeah, is there still something possible or not for Renault or maybe Racing Point? Or is Ferrari already safe? This tonight might be a big moment to decide whether it is safe or not. And another big thing to watch, of course, to talk about is the Drivers' Championship. And I was just thinking about it. It looked like it is getting drier, and that is just it. That is just right. We see the first drivers sitting in the pits who have already mounted slick tire. That is Yeoman and Dominic Walsh, and I suppose many others will follow now, while Blake Gary is on an outlap back on Inters. Not such a good idea. Same goes for zMxncza and Mike Taylor now. Spa is very long, so if you are on an outlap now and if you run it to the end, you have just one more hot lap shot than later, where you can go on slick tire. And we see the next drivers who opt for slicks. That is Grimo and Mercyman. Wim, who is Wim? I don't know who Wim is. I was just looking into our Discord channel. And in our driver list, there is no person by the name of Wim. We do have a few new reserves, so maybe I'm not familiar with every driver's name. I suppose it is Willem, the reserve, who just joined by today, who just joined 2 hours ago. So welcome, Willem. Well, we see Kantan being disqualified. Oh, that is a big topic. Kantan being last. Jack Rocknean, who got a qualify, will not be last then. There will be another one behind him in the last starting row. So who is on the track? It's actually only zMxncza. It's only zMxncza, and he's running on a hot lap, still on Inters. Not so sure if that's a good idea. Yeah, he cannot have more than one more hot lap afterwards, no matter if he comes back now or if he runs it to the end. Yeah, I was talking about the Drivers' Championship. We see today, I think, the first time ever that Thomas Walsh is leading and Ekic runs into the barrier again. Aye, aye, aye. Intense quality here for zMxncza. And again, he is able to survive. Just will need a new nose. So I try again. Today is maybe the first day that Thomas Walsh is leading the Drivers' Championship. Last year it was all about the battle Dominic Walsh against Peter Simpson. And Simo looked like the safe champion and then lost it in the last race with 5 laps remaining. And this year, Peter Simpson, Simo, did not have a good start to the season, but then came back strong with a massive 5 victories in a row. To the midway mark of the season, he looked like the safe champion, and now he had a few bad results lately, and all of a sudden he lost all his cushion and even the lead now to Thomas Walsh, but it's very, very close. It is just 6 points separating those two drivers. Thomas Walsh leading with 198 points. Peter Simpson second with 192. I have attached you the top 3 under the video. And so this will be a big thing to watch here tonight. Well, let's see what Willem is doing. He looks rather slow. So let's have a look at the next one. Maybe Joel Wiegel. There he is in the other Mercedes. Both Mercedes today driven by reserves. Mirko Caruso as well as Ryan Price sadly inactive here tonight. Yeah, so the third man in the championship run then is Jack Rocknean. He is behind by 48 points, and with a quali ban it might be the day that he will have to wave goodbye to his championship chances tonight. Maybe. Then there is a big gap, and we see some fighting groups then, some battle of the midfields, like Jarne Mandibel, Khan and Dominic Walsh fighting for P4. 3 drivers are within 8 points, and another 3 drivers fighting for P7. That's Mirko Caruso with 68, Andrew Mond 62, and Stuart McDonald with 61 points. But Caruso is inactive tonight, so this could be a big moment to take advantage for Andrew Mond and Stuart McDonald. And then there is a big squabble for P12. David Lawson with 45 points, Mike Taylor 42, Mark Goodman 42, Ricky Kuau with 40, and Blake Gary 39. So 5 drivers within 6 points, and those drivers will be fighting in these remaining 7 races for P12 or better maybe, while we see a good first hot lap from Joel Wiegel. Very interesting. The time's dropping now, and he is intensely cutting corners to return to his pits in time. He will try to have another hot lap, but I doubt that he will make it to his crew again. So he should be finished, but it's a very good time, 6 tenths, ahead of Peter Simpson, who is actually our big pole king. Simo, let's see if he can make it back home. I doubt it. I think that Simo is already finished. In third, then Andrew Mont, a second behind Joel Wiegel. 1.7 seconds on Leonard Cam, so it's a bit crazy in times here right now. Very, very strange. Next to Rocknean, now Blake Gary is grey too, so Gary is out. He crashed somewhere, I suppose. We see some yellow right ahead. That is caused by a Mercedes. Joel Wiegel. Interesting. Then Lawson taking a wide lane to get out of the way for Leonard Cam here. Leonard Cam is improving himself, but he is already on his second hot lap here on this set of softs. And Simo is ahead. Simo ahead again. Simo posted 142.2. Maybe it was depicted wrong. Maybe he was on a hot lap earlier, not on an out lap. That's why I ignored him running there. And Stuart McDonald sitting in fifth now. Where will he be in the end? Fifth. Okay. So to me it feels like that the game is a little bit delayed in what it shows to me or to us here on the table. Anyway, the first drivers are getting grey, so many have decided it is already time to call it a quali. We see Peter Simpson in the pole ahead of Joel Wiegel, and then Jarne Vandebril, the home racer, pushed himself into third, relegating Andrew Mann to fourth. Leonard Cam here still in... Leonard Cam now in sixth, because Ricky Kuau pushed himself up and into P5. Mike Taylor is eighth, running on mediums. He will start on mediums. That could be something we have to watch. Mercy man, this is Martin Ward. He is looking like he could make it into the top 10. But Thomas Walsh, Stephen Yeoman, Dominic Walsh, Grimo Goodman are still on hot laps. Nevis Ekic was unable to post the time. Can you believe it? Nevis Ekic, after crashing twice, he was unable to get around the course once. And so we will have to watch right these three drivers here now. Thomas Walsh and Grimo, of course, and the third one was Stephen Yeoman, who pushed himself up and into third, being half a second slower than Simo, but on mediums. That is a big result. Likewise, mediums for Dominic Walsh, who is gonna start in P5. But the big question, what does his brother do? What does Thomas Walsh do? He is the leader of our championship standings. He is the big rival of Peter Simpson. Right now he would be in 15th. That is not competitive, of course, but he is improving like hell. Where will the time stop for him? Which position and starting row will it be for Thomas Walsh? P4. P4, second starting row. That's not bad, but 4.5 tenths separate him from his big rival. And we should actually be through. We are waiting until Andrew Mont is getting pushed back into his garage. And then the CPU should end the quali. It was an interesting quali, was a totally different than we are used to, getting from wet to dry condition, and it was very unrhythmic, I would like to say, so different than usual, but whatever. Here is our starting grid for the race. Peter Simpson will lead the way like he is almost used to. Our pole king. In second is the Dutchman, he's not Belgian, Dutch, Joel Wiegel. Third, Grimo Goodman. Fourth, Thomas Walsh. P5, Stephen Yeoman. Sixth, Ricky Kuau. Seventh, Jarne Vandebril. Eighth, Dominic Walsh. 9, Andrew Mont. 10, Stuart McDonald, free option of tires. Then for Willem, P12, Mike Taylor, 13 is Matt Sneed, 14, Martin Ward, 15, David Lawson, 16, Rocknean, 17, Blake Gary, 18th, Nevis Ekic, and last is Khan Tan, who got disqualified. So he must have parked himself in the pit exit or trying to unspin and then point in the wrong direction. Anything like that is necessary to be disqualified. And our drivers now have half a minute of time to get their tire strategy sorted, and I will be back with you shortly. So here we are in our parade lap for a dry start, at least to start. It looks rather dark again, so who knows what the Belgium weather gods will bring us for this race. We have a look at the starting tire. Top 10 have to start on the set they qualified on, so they are already used a bit. The top 4 are on softs and Steven Yeoman on mediums. A few more softs then for Kuau, Van de Bril, Andrew Mont, Leonard Cam, and Willem. Mediums for Dominic Walsh, and from P12 onwards, there's just one driver who is on softs. Mike Taylor, Matt Sneed, Martin Ward, David Lawson, Jack Rocknean, all on mediums. Blake Gary on softs. Nevis Ekic and Khan Tan on mediums. So the two real-life friends in the Red Bulls, Martin Ward and David Lawson, will start next to each other. And the two real-life bodies, Ekic and Khan Tan, will start next to each other in the last starting row. Yeah, so usually you should be able to go through on a one-stop strategy here in Spa, no matter which tire you start on. Yellow to white is always possible, of course, but it should be possible to go red to white, for example, too. So it is not the biggest advantage for the medium starters. There are some tracks where you really have an advantage if you start on mediums. Today is not one of these days. And further, yeah, with this weather, this could shuffle and puzzle a few strategies here. Let's just see how much of wets we will have. Here is already one idea of Pirelli. You've seen the an possible tire strategy depicted. And so, with a very special camera angle, we will see the start here of the Belgium Grand Prix, the 5 red lights, and then go here in Spa. Good start for Peter Simpson, but he is under attack here from the outside. Everything went rather okay. Let's scoot through a bit. The background looks rather okay too. Did not see any big issues there. Through Orange. Grimo needs to take a little bit of white lane, but was okay. And then we see some yellow. We have a VSC. VSC. Matt Snead is out too. Multiple penalties now. Leonard Cam is out. Wim is out. What in all hell happened here? My goodness. Oh, my goodness. There's the picture. This happened. This is almost like Spa 98, just a few hundred meters later. Oi. There is some Red Bull with a ragged nose out and. Okay. It is red flag. There is the message. Red flag. So, David Lawson, our host, decided this will be restarted. Oh, after a massive crash. So for the next start, I will have a better look on the midway parts of the field. So I will now leave the session and we will set up a new lobby. Okay, so I will leave the stream online. I will stay silent until everything is sorted and we head back to the track. I will be back with you in a moment. So after the red flag, we are now back into our new lobby. Sadly, I couldn't really depict the crash. There was some big tangling up in Orange, obviously. I'm just scooting through the lobby. I think we have everybody on board again now. 19 drivers it was earlier. And David Lawson, our host, now has all hands to do to get things sorted out, to get every driver in the customized starting grid position. I hope that all our drivers will remember to reload the setup. We had that a few times when we had crash lobbies, that some drivers forgot to reload the setup and then had to drive the whole race on a default setup. Yep, we are ready. We are ready to go to Spa again. So second thing to watch is that every driver starts on the same set as before. If not, then there is a quali ban for next week. Next week, when we will head to Azerbaijan, by the way, so where we just came from in the real life world. And we will not have a formation lap, so we will jump right into the starting grid then. It's just as dark as it was before. So I'm not sure if David Lawson, our host, has decided to make it a night race, but it looks really dark. And I will be back with you shortly. So no formation lap will make it a bit stressful for me now on the start, but whatever. The 5 red lights, and then this time the second start here in Spa. Here we go. Good start from Seymour again, not as good from UL Wigel as before. Here we see already the first debris flying off. I think it was an Alpha Tauri. Got to be Andrew Mont then. Let's focus a bit what's happening on the background here in Orange. Here everything was still okay. And this time everyone got through. No, not everyone. Not everyone. We miss out, and there's another crash. There is another crash here at the end of Camel Straight. Matt Sneed was involved. This is Martin Ward. Safety car. We have a safety car. Wim is out right here. Then Matt Sneed. And what is Martin Ward doing? I'm not sure. He's out now too. Okay. So, safety car in lap 1. Oof. First thing now to watch, as we have a moment, is the tire situation. I think that it could be quite correct compared to start one. Yeah, Matt Snead is already angry that he is out after the Camel Straight. I can understand that it's always a bit sad if you have to quit the evening so early. Let's see who is going to pit. First one who does so is Steven Yeoman. Let's stay with him for a moment. Let's see if this is... Aha! He calls it a day too. Steven Yeoman is out. Andrew Mont in need of a new nose. We saw the Alpha Tauri debris flying off very early already. Oh, both the Alpha Tauris. Oh, this is big. This is very sad now for Mark Goodman. He has to wait here behind his teammate until he's got his fresh tires, fresh nose. But the good thing about it is that we are under safety car conditions, so both the Alpha Tauris can pick up to the rest of the field then again. Willem, our new driver who just joined today, is angry too. He was out after lap 1 or after the Camel Straight. So, after we had some reasons for discussions in Sochi, we will have some discussions here after Spa too. Matt Snead already angry. Wim is angry too. Well, he is spreading some, let's call it angry words. I can understand that you are angry when being able to race for maybe half a minute, but likewise, he is here in this league for the first day for just 3 hours now, and yeah, so I hope that he might calm down a little bit, as he is still the new one among us. So let's focus on the race. We are now officially into the race. Bernd Mailänder is leading ahead of Peter Simpson, who was defending his lead rather easily. Joel Wiegel had a good start on the first start, not as good in the second. Seymour looked a lot more under pressure in our first start. And now we see a pit stop from Blake Gary. He will probably be last then. Andrew Mont opted to go on softs. Blake Gary does so too, so both will have to stop again. Grimo has decided to remain or to go on hards. Yeah, I doubt that he can make it over the race on this set of hards already from now onwards. But let's see how good he can be, how fast he can be on hards compared to the drivers on softs around him. Then safety car should be in at the end of this lap, and then we will see 20 more laps of green and racing condition. The weather is still gray and dark, so it's obviously not raining. Let's have a look at the TV pods. No, there are no drops, no raindrops, but this could turn. I did not hear any word of weather report, a weather forecast, but it's okay. We just wait and see what will happen here. So, safety cars in this lap. The flashlights are already off, and Peter Simpson now leading the way. Intensely warming up his tires. Pacing the field here in Sector 3. This is a flat-out zone, usually very fast, but under safety car condition, this Sector 3 can take very, very long until you've gone through. And he already picked up the pace now, earlier than expected, at least from me. UL Wiegel is still there, but I think not in a position to attack. And here we go. We are back to green. Peter Simpson leading the way from UL Wiegel, and in third, Thomas Walsh, the overall leader, the big rival of Peter Simpson. Then already a second of gap to Ricky Kuau in the second Renault. In fifth, the home racer Jarne van der Brill. Sixth, then the still reigning champion Dominic Walsh, who we are searching a successor for him here in the last 7 races. I doubt that he can defend his title eventually. 7th, Leonard Cam. 8th, Mike Taylor. 9th already, Jack Rocknean. Coming from the very bottom of the field on mediums, he's racing here. Then Nevis Ekic, David Lawson 11th, 12th, Khan Tan. And then the 3 drivers who already had to stop. Let's have a look what's happening here. Khan Tan sitting on the rear wing of David Lawson already. Yellow in Sector 2, just shortly already vanished. And Grimo is already 3 seconds behind Andrew Mont. So speaking about the effect of restarting on hards compared to soft runners. Wow, good maneuver here from Kantan. Out of the slipstream ahead of Lawson. And now Lawson is in the grasp of Andrew Mont, the Red Bull against Alpha Tauri. Simo already a second away from UL Wiegel. No DRS yet, we will have to wait for one more lap. And yellow in Sector 1, this is ahead of us. And there's a Ferrari, Jarne van der Brill. Jarne van der Brill spun in La Source and will be last now. And maybe he has front wing damage, maybe he will need a pit stop, and going a full lap here in Spa is so damn long. And here's the attack from Lawson. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. So let's search us for some on-track action. We see a potential growing fighting group here. This is in 5th, Dominic Walsh in the Alfa Romeo, who will supply DRS for multiple drivers now. Leonard Cam then behind, and Mike Taylor and Jack Rocknean. And if you can pick up a little bit more, it is Nevis Ekic into the 1 second window too. So, I know. There is no DRS for Rocknean and Ekic. They dropped out of the 1 second window here. Likewise is Wiegel on P2, out of the 1 second window from Peter Simpson. And pit stop from, yes, Jane van der Brill in last position. He might try to go through on hards here, let's see. And there's the attack upcoming from Tom Walsh against Joel Wiegel. Yeah, attack but not an overtake yet. Well defended from Wiegel. This looks like just a matter of time until Tom Walsh was able to wear his opponent down. The camel straight with the ice is so incredibly long. One of the longest DIS zones in the whole year. Not the longest straight, but a very long DIS zone. And for Tom Walsh it would be very important. He cannot let Simpson get away too far. If he can overtake Wiegel and be second, that would still be enough for Peter Simpson to reconquer the lead in the overall standings. Simpson would then lead by 1 point. Can it be any closer? And let's have a look at the other racing point. That's Mike Taylor, who is under pressure from Rocknean in the Ferrari. Even though that Taylor is racing on the faster soft tire. So let's have a look at both the racing points. First one to watch here in the camel straight, ThomasW. But Wiegel is fast. My goodness, Joel Wiegel is really fast on the straight, even though he is not DRS equipped. And no chance for an attack from Rocknean on Taylor. Maybe there was a little bit of a mistake through Eau Rouge, because all of a sudden Kantan is there very close to him. Bit of a slide from Tan here. He rather accepted a locked tire instead of running into the barrier there in Pouillon. Now through Campus, the Campus P turn 13, 14, 15 combination, and Stavelot. And then out to Paul Frere and Blanchimont. Oh, you cannot go through Blanchimont! My goodness! Wow! Strong maneuver from Kantan. He took a little bit of track limits there, but it was okay, I would like to say. Meanwhile, Jane van der Brill has spun in Pouillon, caused a little bit of yellow, but is running again. Van der Brill tried it on hards, by the way. We see Joel Wiegel is out! Joel Wiegel is out! In Eau Rouge! There's a Mercedes darted into the barrier! Let's see if we can depict it again. Can we see it again? Brought to us from David Lawson here. No, it's already vanished. The car is already vanished, but Joel Wiegel is out in P2 and he ended his race in the Eau Rouge in second position. My goodness, can it be more dramatic than ruining a second place? And we have a safety car again. Second stint for Bernd Mailänder. Jane van der Brill was just into the pits. Jane van der Brill is happy now, I suppose, that he can pick up to the rest of the field, while we see a drive-through for David Lawson. Oh no. Drive-through penalty, David Lawson speeding on the safety car. He could not obey to the intermediate second times. And that is big because he's not allowed to serve it right now. He must wait until the end of the safety car phase and then he will be in last position. After finishing second last week, David Lawson in Sochi. He cannot build on this good result from last week. And pit stops in the front. Peter Simpson is in, Thomas Walsh is in, Ricky Kuau is in. Kuau, he might need to wait behind Simpson here. Yes, it is, just barely, but waiting is waiting. That might cost him a position or two. A lot of drivers opting for mediums here. But from red to yellow, I doubt that you can go through on a set of mediums now. So that means all of them will have to stop again. Likewise to those who opted for softs now, like Kantan and Nebizikic it was. Only Lawson and Blake Gary in 12th and 13. Lawson and Gary have opted for hards. Only those drivers can go through, and Gary is into the pits again. I totally do not understand what's happening here with Blake Gary. Yeah, Joel Vigel has now left the session. I hope that he might still be with us on the stream and watch his lads race here for the rest of the evening. So compared to the start, we see the big winner, of course, Jack Rocknean with a plus 14, who is still running on his starting tire of mediums. Likewise to Dominic Walsh. They, I suppose, can go on for 5 or 6 more laps, and with all the safety car phases, maybe they can make these mediums last so long that they can switch to softs then in the end for the last stints. Maybe we will see. Yeah, and meanwhile, Joel Wiegel has told us that he is angry about his crash. Yeah, I totally can understand. It was weird, he says, and he turned in too sharp, he thinks. Yeah, I can understand. It is so easily done in Eau Rouge. So easily that you can ruin a lap or maybe a whole race in just one moment. So what else is important here for the moment? We see Mark Goodman, Grimo, who is still on 7 laps old hards. He still needs to stop again, but it doesn't matter because everyone around him has to stop too, at least once more. So he was getting to the front a lot now in this situation. But of course he is on a rather slow tire compared to the others, so that's the disadvantage he has to live through now on the restart. Then I suppose that the safety car will be called into the pits at the end of this lap, and I will be back with you in a moment. So we just received the message. As expected, Michael Masi will call in Bernd Mailänder here at the end of this lap. And now, this man, the reigning champion, Dominic Walsh, is leading and pacing the field here in the last sector. He's doing it a little bit faster than Simpson did it a few laps ago. And to one moment, he will pick up the pace then. And here it is. We are back to green. Dominic Walsh leading, but Rocknean is close right behind him. Then almost a second of gap to Peter Simpson. Simpson was shaken off a little bit here at the restart. First two drivers get through en rouge cleanly. Everyone behind does so too. Yep, no yellow this time. Everything was okay, but we have a new leader. The Ferrari of Rocknean is through. Rocknean couldn't overtake him on the restart, but just a few hundred yards afterwards on the Camel Straight. So the Ferrari of Rocknean is faster than the Alpha Tauri of Dominic Walsh. Equal car performances, of course, but setup is leaning a bit more into the turns, obviously, for Walsh instead of flat out speed on the straight. And there was a crash here in the background somewhere. Yellow in sector 2. Who was it? Ricky Kuao is sticking out of the gravel there. Ricky Kuao now in last position. And here's a big flock of cars. Mike Taylor with a ruined nose. He was involved there somehow with Ricky Kuao. And then Jan Vandenberg into the mix, who had a spin, with two spins actually already. And now Taylor into the pits and Ricky Kuao probably too. No, he not. Only Taylor needs a new nose. So let's focus on the top four, because those drivers are very close. Rocknean leading the way, then Simo and Tom Walsh and Dom Walsh. So Dominic Walsh, who was restarting the field, is now down to fourth anymore. He was relegated behind a lot. We saw him losing a position to Rocknean right at the first Camel Straight, and afterwards, in just 1.5 laps, he lost more, and now he lost it all! He lost it all! He touched the inside curb there in Pouillon, and that is a place where you should not run over the curb, because then this happens, and Dominic Walsh is down even further. Yellow in sector 3. Already vanished. Grimo lost positions too on his set of hards. I mentioned it on the restart, and he has front ring damage. That is an unpleasant situation, because on the hards he actually would need to go a little bit longer, but on the other hand, he needs to stop soon as his nose is damaged. And from behind, Andrew Mon is coming, and Grimo just let him pass. Alpha Tauri teamwork, you could say. Lawson and Walsh in for David Lawson. This will be his drive-through penalty, and he will not be last then, as Taylor needed a pit stop for a nose, and Dom Walsh did so too. Yeah, Grimo does not attack. And the top three are a little bit separating here. Rocknean still running on his old mediums. He will soon stop for hards, I suppose. Then Simpson and Tom Walsh. So the two championship main rivals, main contenders running in second and third. And if the race was over now, this would not be enough for Peter Simpson to reconquer the lead. Thomas Walsh would stay the leader in our driver classification. And have a look here out into Blanchimont. He's in the slipstream of Simpson and he looks a bit faster now. Oh, and he's under attack from the Williams of Kantan. Have a look, Kantan. On his rather fresh softs, he has just muscled through. Wow. Wow, really intense and interesting. And Peter Simpson will smile now, because Tom Walsh could not attack Simpson. He was rather under attack. And now let's see what Tan is able to do against Simpson. DRS supplied from Rocknean for everyone of this group, so no advantage for Tan. Only advantage he has is his faster soft tire. Yeah, Tan, he was the strongest starter into the season, almost threw it away here. Kantan was the strongest starter. He looked like the one who was running away very early, very fast with the championship. He was, I think, on the first 4 or 5 races, he was on the podium on every race. But then, yeah, he dropped back. He had some, let's call it mediocre results. Plus, he was inactive for a couple of races due to moving to a new flat. And all of a sudden, he got buried into the midfields. And now, on the better traction of his softs, he does just the same as what he did to Tom Walsh a lap ago. Wow, have a look at this. Leave some breathing space to you boys. Oh, and Simpson runs into Rocknean. Simpson has tagged Rocknean there and forced him into the pits. And all of this makes Kantan slip through on the inside. And attack from Simpson aggressively through La Source. And what's going on here? What in all hell is going on? Threesome through the Eau Rouge. This can't go well. Oh my goodness. My goodness. And now Tom Walsh, the leader. 3 drivers through the Camel Straight. David Lawson, our host, got disqualified for not serving his drive-through penalty. Didn't he know it? Did he not know that he was penalized? We had a similar situation for Jan van der Breggen a bit earlier this season. I think it was in China, when Van der Breggen just thought he doesn't have to serve his drive-through late in the race, and then got disqualified. And Kantan is struggling again here in the intermediate sector. Kantan, we saw that already a lap earlier. He has, it feels like a very loose rear that he has. And now we are out onto Blanchimont here again. Flat out, pedal to the metal. Kantan looks really strong and fast here in Blanchimont. No DRS zone, by the way. Wheel to wheel into the bus stop, and I think Simpson had the next driver to tag a little bit. It was Tom Walsh this time, but Walsh was good enough on balance to survive it. Rocknean, by the way, who was forced into the pit lane, is down to 10th now. Yeah, and Peter Simpson is down to 3rd. Thomas Walsh leading the way, but this is an intense battle on this top three. This is everything but over. This is not settled yet. And every one of the drivers is still in need of a pit stop. I suppose none of them can go through on the set here right now. Wow, what an intense race here again. I mentioned it already earlier. Mainstream Racing Series is everything but mainstream. It is totally entertaining. We should recall it for the new game into Entertainment Racing Series. And Kantan on his softs on the outside, and he makes it, and Thomas Walsh went sideways for a short moment, and then wheel to his big rival Thomas Walsh, and now Simpson is second, Tom Walsh down to third anymore. What is going on here? So Kantan is really cutting his way through the field on his softs, and none of these drivers is having any kind of mercy in the battles here. Simpson didn't, Walsh didn't, and Kantan didn't as well. And Thomas Walsh needs to get a bit closer to stay inside the 1 second window of Simo. He cannot let his main rival let go here. Yeah, he got a little closer now. He must hope that Kantan will run away in the lead on his softs to push Simo out of the DRS zone. That might be his thought here right now. There is another battle. This is, just in this moment, Jane van der Brill overtook Black Gary. And that happened after the long DRS zone of Camel Straight, and behind Rocknean, Ikic, and Ricky Koo. Wow, Ikic didn't see his real life body. What's going on here? My goodness, loads of action. And there is another battle for P12, Taylor and Dominic Walsh. There is loads of background chats that I missed, probably coming from the last safety car phase. But okay, let's focus on what is important, and that is our top three battle here. Kantan is still leading the way on his softs. Let's see when he has to pit again. Then Simo and Tom Walsh. We have only 4.5 laps remaining. Maybe the drivers will try to make it through on this set. And then the big question is who can make the tires last better. 13 laps would be the final duration on mediums. 13 laps in Spa, that is really long. That's over half the race distance. I'm not sure if the mediums can take more than half of a distance. The soft can definitely not. So Kantan must stop again. For Simpson and Walsh, this is a question mark if they have to. And Walsh is about to drop out of the DRS window, and that would be huge. That would be huge, not only for this race, but for our overall lead as well. Meanwhile, Blake Gary is ahead of Van der Brill again. Something happened here. Gary reconquered P6. And then there are the two Ferraris. They had some really good Team Tactical driving over the whole season, but now they might be fighting for P7. I'm not sure if there is a team strategy who could be faster or not. And now the attack after Eau Rouge. Here's the DIS zone. Peter Simpson attacking Kantan. That should work. That did work. Peter Simpson back into the lead. Ooh, and Kantan wiggling. Oh, I mentioned already a few times. Kantan looks like he is running on very, very limited downforce. We have seen him very often having a crazy, unstable car here in the medium pace turns. And he almost lost it. He almost took out Tom Walsh with him. And yeah, there he slides again. Yeah, and his tires will degrade now. His softs will just go down now, and he will have to stop now for another set of softs. If he didn't stop on softs, I think I think he started on mediums, so he could run softs again. And the big effect of it of his wiggling, was that Tom Walsh dropped 2 seconds to Simpson. So Peter Simpson is the lucky man now, leading the way and having some cushion, and Kantan did not stop. We are now with 3 laps remaining. I just cannot believe it that Kantan's tires would last the full duration, the full length now. Next Camel Straight DIS zone now in favor for Tom Walsh. This could work. Left or right, left lane. Inside here, still wheel to wheel. No, it didn't work. It did not work. The Williams of Kantan is fast on the straight. That would back up my theory that he is running with downforce settings 0 or something similar. And the other fight to watch, that's right, this one, both the Ferraris. Van der Bril's still ahead. Not sure how long this will stay. So Van der Brill is racing on P6. He is... right when we watch it, Van der Brill lets his teammate through. Okay, so once again, team tactical driving from the Ferraris. Van der Brill, who has had 2 spins, he is still racing for a bunch of points here. And Andrew Mont has silently crawled up into 5th. There he is. And Stuart McDonald just as silent into 4th. And now, now Tom Walsh is very close to Kantan. He is already inside his gearbox before Eau Rouge. Dirty air effect kicking in heavily here, and now he should have a go. Yes, he does. This time he was able to push through, and with the degraded tires from Kantan, I suppose that there will not be a counter attack. We are already in the penultimate lap, ladies and gentlemen. After we got some race rhythm from the early safety car phases, this race has gone by very, very fast, I think. And it was dry, no rain throughout the whole race. And Kantan will make it home on very old softs. 5 seconds, the only penalty handed to Kantan. to Ricky Huao will not have any consequence as he's 8.5 seconds away from Gekic. And Kantan, woohoo, plus 16. He came from the very bottom of the field. Did everything right in case he can nurse his tires home for one more lap. Kantan now 7.5 tenths away from Tom Walsh, 7/10 now. I doubt that he can get wheel to Walsh at the end of Camel. He'll get closer here, but no attacking possibilities. So if no one of them throws it away, the podium should be settled, and I suppose more or less every other position is rather settled too. If no one throws it away, of course. And Tom Walsh now came a bit closer. He inched closer. He, melted a few tenths of the Seymour cushion. But not enough, of course, to get closer. And that will mean in just a minute or so that Peter Simpson is the new leader again of our drivers classification, and he will lead over Tom Walsh by 1 point then. Only 1 point. And there was some problem. Ricky Kuau! I saw him. He was wheel to wheel with Blake Gary. But in the end, those tangled. And here's the race winner, Peter Simpson. Congratulations to Renault. And in second, Tom Walsh. And a third, a great result for P3. Kantan, Leonard Cam, and Andrew Mont crawling up silently and will be granted a whole lot of points for it. Jack Rocknean then in 6, and Jane van der Brill, the home racer, coming home on P7. And this spin from Ricky Huao plus his 5 seconds penalty now has pushed him out of the points. He finishes in 11th. Dominic Walsh only in 12th. Another, sorry if I say so, another a bit disappointing result for our Season 1 champion, who we are searching a successor for here in these weeks. Driver of the day, Kantan, at least from crawling up so many positions. And here is our podium. Peter Simpson has won it. Congrats to him for his Belgium trophy and some digital version of champagne. So here is our final result after penalties. Simo has won it ahead of Thomas Walsh and Kantan. 4th, Leonard Cam, Stuart McDonald. 5th, Andrew Mont. 6th is Jack Rocknean. 7th, Jarne van der Brill. P8 goes to Blake Gary. 9th, Nevi Sekic. P10, final point being given to Grimo Goodman. 11th, Ricky Kuau. 12th, Dominic Walsh. And 3rd, Mike Taylor. The rest did not finish. That is David Lawson, Joel Wiegel, Stephen Yeoman, Martin Ward, Matt Sneed, and Willem, the reserve. So this has been a very intense Belgium Grand Prix for the mainstream racing series. Very entertaining once again. A lot of stuff to rewatch and to discuss. And Yeah, next week, next Wednesday, we will turn to Baku then. But, one big but, sadly, I will be in a week of vacation there. So, yeah, I will sadly not be able to bring the next race home to your living room. This will be my first ever MRS race to miss. I am looking forward to my holidays, but on the other hand, yeah, there is one eye that is a bit dropping a tear, as I have never missed a MRS race, but okay. That's always the first time, and this is it for me. Baku, I will miss out. I will be back with you then and stream you the final 5 races of the season when we head to Melbourne, Australia, then in Wednesday in 2 weeks. If you want to be notified for that, just hit the subscribe button to my channel and you will get a message from YouTube when the stream goes online. The session always starts at 7:30 p.m. UK time, 8:30 p.m. Continental, and the stream goes online 5 to 10 minutes earlier. Until then, thanks for being with us. I'm Seb Bauer. I am very glad I was bringing you home this entertaining race. Have a nice evening. Have a good rest of your week. Stay safe in these times. And keep racing.